Emotional intelligence. Everyone thinks emotional intelligence means being sensitive and talking about your feelings. Nope, here's the truth. Emotional intelligence is about control. It's reading a room in seconds and knowing exactly how to respond. It's watching someone's face shift and catching what they're not saying. It's feeling rage build inside you and choosing not to react yet. People with high EQ don't just feel deeply. They regulate. They sense tension between coworkers before anyone speaks. They know when their partner is upset from a single text. And when their own emotions spike, they don't explode. They pause, process, then respond. Studies show EQ predicts success better than IQ. Why? Because life is a team sport. Nobody wants to work with someone who can't read the room. Here's how you build it. Start labeling emotions precisely. Not bad or stressed, but frustrated, disappointed, anxious, overwhelmed. Specificity equals control. Practice actually listening, not planning your response while they talk. Absorbing their words, their tone, their body language. And when emotions hit hard, pause before reacting. That 3-second gap between stimulus and response, that's where emotional intelligence lives. Practical intelligence. Practical intelligence is solving real-world problems that don't have textbook solutions. Street smarts, common sense, the stuff nobody teaches you explicitly but everyone expects you to know. The kid who barely graduated but built $1 million business? Practical intelligence. The grandmother who navigates bureaucracy like a chess master? Practical intelligence. The person who always knows someone who can help? Practical intelligence. This is tacit knowledge. How to negotiate a raise. When to break rules versus follow them. How to read a situation and adapt on the fly. Schools actively suppress this by pretending every problem has one right answer. Real life has infinite solutions, most of them unlisted. Here's how you build it. Get more reps in the real world. Book knowledge means nothing without application. Start businesses, negotiate deals, navigate conflicts, even if you fail. Learn from people with different life experiences. A taxi driver might teach you more about practical intelligence than a professor ever could. Pay attention to what actually works, not what should work in theory. Results over ideology. And develop a bias for action. Practical intelligence grows through doing, not thinking. When in doubt, move.
Now, speaking of skills you can actually train,
Creative intelligence. Everyone thinks creativity is something you're born with. You either have it or you don't. That's completely false. Creativity is a skill. And like any skill, it can be trained. Here's how creative brains actually work. They combine existing ideas in new ways. Every original thought is really just a remix. The more raw material you feed your brain, books, experiences, conversations, art, the more combinations it can generate. That's why the most creative people are the most curious. They consume widely and connect randomly. So how do you develop it? First, embrace boredom. Seriously, the shower, the commute, the waiting room, these empty moments are when your brain makes its wildest connections. Stop filling every second with your phone. Second, practice divergent thinking. Take any object and list 50 uses for it. Force your brain past the obvious answers into the weird ones. Third, create more than you consume. Writing, drawing, building, coding, whatever. The act of creation strengthens the creative muscle faster than passive consumption ever will. Finally, steal like an artist. Study what you admire, break it apart, understand why it works, then remix it into something yours. Logical mathematical intelligence. Logical mathematical intelligence is reasoning, calculating, thinking abstractly, recognizing patterns in logic and numbers. This is the intelligent school worships, the one we test for, rank by, and use to sort people into life paths. And while it's valuable, the cult of IQ has done serious damage. Having less of it doesn't make you stupid. It makes you differently intelligent. That said, you can develop it significantly. Your brain is plastic. Logical reasoning is trainable. Here's how. Practice mental math. Don't reach for the calculator immediately. Estimate first, then verify. This builds numerical intuition. The speed comes from pattern recognition, not memorization. Study logic formally. Learn about fallacies, syllogisms, logical operators. Understanding how reasoning works helps you reason better. You spot flaws in arguments, including your own. Code, even if you're not a programmer. Programming is applied logic. It teaches you to think in systems and debug your own reasoning. Every error message is a lesson in logical precision. Play strategy games. Chess, Go, poker. Games where logic determines outcomes. Where you can analyze why you won or lost and solve problems just beyond your current ability. The struggle is where growth happens. If it's easy, it's not developing anything. Push the edge. Linguistic intelligence. Linguistic intelligence is using language effectively, understanding words, constructing arguments, communicating with precision and style. Writers, lawyers, poets, politicians, they don't just communicate, they craft language, they choose words deliberately, they understand that home and house aren't synonyms and pick accordingly. In a world drowning in content, linguistic intelligence is competitive advantage. The person who communicates clearly thinks clearly, and clear thinking wins. Arguments won, deals closed, ideas spread. Here's how you build it. Read widely and above your level. Challenge yourself with vocabulary, complex sentence structures, unfamiliar ideas expressed in language. Absorb how masters use words. Write daily, not for publication, just for practice. Journaling counts. The more you produce, the better you get. Volume creates quality over time. Study rhetoric, learn how arguments are constructed, understand ethos, pathos, logos, notice how great speakers and writers persuade, reverse engineer what works, learn another language. Even basic competence in a second language illuminates how your first language works. You see structure you'd never noticed. Play word games, crosswords, Scrabble, puns. These train linguistic flexibility. And speak more precisely. Catch yourself using vague language and replace it. Very good becomes exceptional. Bad becomes disappointing or harmful or ineffective, depending on what you actually mean. Interpersonal intelligence. Interpersonal intelligence is understanding people, reading them, building rapport instantly, navigating social dynamics like a chess game where you can see 3 moves ahead. This is the salesman who closes deals others can't, the manager whose team would walk through fire for them, the friend everyone calls when they need advice. People with high interpersonal intelligence are social translators. They adjust their communication style for different people automatically. They sense what someone needs before being told. They make others feel seen and understood without trying. The foundation is empathy. Can you actually step into someone else's shoes? Not project your feelings onto them, but understand their unique perspective, their context, their fears, their desires. Here's how you develop it. Pay attention to nonverbal cues. Crossed arms, eye contact, vocal tone, these communicate more than words ever will. Practice asking better questions. Not how are you, but questions that invite real answers. Then actually listen. Study social dynamics. Watch how high-status individuals interact. Notice who commands attention in rooms and why. And diversify your social circle. If everyone you know thinks like you, you're not developing interpersonal intelligence. You're just comfortable in an echo chamber. Cultural intelligence. Cultural intelligence is navigating different contexts without stepping on landmines. It's knowing that directness is valued in Germany, but offensive in Japan. That time means something different in Switzerland than Brazil. In a globalized world, this is becoming essential. But cultural intelligence isn't just about countries. It applies to industries, generations, social classes, online communities. Every group has unwritten rules. People with low cultural intelligence constantly make mistakes, jokes that don't land, missing subtext, wondering why they can't connect when everyone else seems to get it. Here's how you build it. First, assume you know nothing. Enter every new cultural context as a student, not an expert. Ask questions. Observe before acting. Watch what gets rewarded and what gets punished. Consume media from different cultures, not Hollywood's version of them. Korean dramas, African literature, Brazilian podcasts, actual perspectives from actual people. Travel if you can, but immerse, don't tour. Stay longer, talk to locals, get uncomfortable. And when you make mistakes, and you will, apologize genuinely, learn quickly, move forward. Cultural intelligence grows through friction, not avoidance. You have to get it wrong to learn what's right. Intrapersonal intelligence. Intrapersonal intelligence is knowing yourself, not surface level, deep. It's understanding why you procrastinate, what triggers your anxiety, how you'll react to stress before it even hits. Most people sleepwalk through life reacting to circumstances without questioning the internal machinery driving their behavior. Here's the trap. We think we know ourselves because we spend every moment inside our own heads. But proximity isn't understanding. You can live with someone for decades and still not truly know them. Same applies to yourself. People with high intrapersonal intelligence can predict their own patterns. They know which situations drain them, which people energize them, which decisions they'll regret. They've done the internal audit. How do you build it? Journal, but not the Dear Diary kind. Ask yourself hard questions. Why did that comment bother me? What am I avoiding right now? What would I do if I wasn't afraid? Meditation helps too. Not for relaxation, for observation. Watching your thoughts without attaching to them. Noticing patterns. Seek feedback from others. Sometimes we have blind spots only outsiders can see. And regularly audit your values. Not what you say matters, but what your calendar and bank account actually reveal. Spatial intelligence. Spatial intelligence is thinking in three dimensions: visualizing, mentally manipulating, seeing how pieces fit together before touching them. Architects, pilots, surgeons, chess players. They can rotate objects in their minds, navigate without GPS, see solutions others can't imagine. But spatial intelligence helps everyone. Parking your car, packing a suitcase efficiently, rearranging furniture in your head, understanding graphs and maps. It's more practical than it sounds. Some people seem naturally gifted here. They just see spaces differently. But research confirms spatial intelligence can be trained significantly. Your brain adapts. Here's how. Puzzles. Jigsaw puzzles, Rubik's cubes, Tetris, mechanical puzzles. These directly train spatial reasoning. The more you practice, the faster you get. Practice mental rotation. Look at an object and visualize rotating it 90 degrees, then 180. Then imagine viewing it from the other side of the room. Build that mental manipulation muscle. Learn to draw, even if you're not artistic. Drawing trains your brain to translate three-dimensional reality onto two-dimensional surfaces. That translation builds spatial thinking. Play video games, specifically ones requiring navigation and spatial awareness. Studies show certain games measurably improve spatial skills. And ditch GPS occasionally. Navigate old school. Force your brain to build mental maps again. Musical intelligence. Musical intelligence isn't just for musicians. It's perceiving, creating, and thinking in patterns of rhythm, melody, and sound. People with high musical intelligence hear a song once and identify the chord progression. They feel when a rhythm is slightly off by milliseconds. They think in patterns of sound. Here's what most people miss. Musical intelligence enhances everything else. Memory, language learning, mathematical thinking, emotional processing. Your brain on music is a supercharged brain. Studies prove it. And it's not either you have it or you don't. Musical intelligence can be developed at any age. Your brain stays plastic. Here's how. Listen actively. Not as background noise. Really listen. Focus on individual instruments. Notice how melodies build and resolve. Follow the bass line. Hear the structure beneath the surface. Learn an instrument. Even basic competence rewires your brain in powerful ways. Piano and drums are particularly good for developing rhythm and coordination. Study music theory. Understanding the why behind what sounds good deepens both appreciation and ability. Sing. Most people stop singing after childhood because someone told them they weren't good. Ignore that. Your voice is an instrument too. And create. Even bad music makes you musically smarter than consuming good music passively. Bodily kinesthetic intelligence. Bodily kinesthetic intelligence is controlling your body with precision, using physical skills to solve problems or create. Athletes, surgeons, dancers, craftsmen. These people think with their bodies in ways most of us can't comprehend. Here's something school never told you. Physical intelligence is real intelligence. The brain and body aren't separate systems. They're one integrated machine. When you develop your body, you're developing your mind. Research proves it. Physical activity improves memory, focus, creativity, and emotional regulation. Exercise literally grows new brain cells. Sitting at a desk doesn't make you smarter. Moving does. How do you develop it? Pick up a physical discipline that requires precision. Martial arts, yoga, dance, rock climbing, woodworking, anything demanding body awareness. Practice without mirrors sometimes. Learn to feel correct movement rather than see it. Build proprioception. Cross-train across different movement patterns. If you only run, try lifting. If you only lift, try swimming. Novel physical challenges create new neural pathways, and slow down. Tai Chi masters develop incredible kinesthetic intelligence by moving slowly and deliberately. Speed comes later. Finally, use your hands more. In a digital world, we've lost connection to physical making. Build something. Feel the materials. Let your body think. Naturalistic intelligence. Naturalistic intelligence is recognizing patterns in the natural world. Plants, animals, weather, ecosystems. For most of human history, this was survival intelligence. Knowing which plants were edible, which animals were dangerous, how to read clouds for weather. These skills determined who lived and who died. Today, naturalistic intelligence seems less relevant. We buy food from stores, check weather apps. But here's the thing. People with high naturalistic intelligence are pattern recognizers. They categorize instinctively. This skill transfers everywhere. Biology, investing, machine learning. Taxonomy is taxonomy, whether you're sorting butterflies or business models. Here's how you develop it. Spend time in nature deliberately. Not hiking while listening to podcasts, but actually observing. What species live here? How do they interact? What changed since last season? Learn to identify things. Trees in your neighborhood, birds at your feeder, constellations in your sky. The act of categorizing trains the pattern recognition machinery. Garden if possible. Even a windowsill herb garden connects you to natural rhythms and systems. Study ecology. Understanding how systems interact, predators and prey, nutrients and cycles, develops systemic thinking that applies everywhere. And remember, you evolved in nature. Your brain is built for this. The intelligence is already there. It just needs awakening.